Why isn't this streaming? Oh, wait, I'm clicking the wrong thing. Hi, I'm Joleen Lunzer.
And I'm Sarah Atwood.
We're YouTubers.
We're entertainment and pop culture fanatics.
But most importantly, we're friends.
Good Pop is a weekly podcast where we chat about pop culture, entertainment, life, and share some good news stories.
Because right now, we could all use some good in our lives.
So sit back, relax, and get some of this good pop.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Good Pop Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Joleen Lunzer, and I'm here with my co-host, Sarah Atwood. Sarah, how are you?
Hello, I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good, except for I was hitting our background instead of the video, so that's how my day is going.
Just a little Mercury in retrograde right there. Prime example.
Now that we talk about astrology more, I am noticing people posting about like Mercury's in retrograde. This is what happened. Even my friend Diana hit me up. She was like, yeah, I'm just having, I did this or I had a bad day, but Mercury is in retrograde. I'm like, yes, that's why it happened.
Technology, it's difficult during this time.
It is. Shout out to everyone joining us live and in the chat. We got Mama Bev.
Hi.
In the chat, Mama Bev says, hey, everyone, it's a good pop day. Yes, it is. We have Ben. You guys let us know you're here in the chat. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and also make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you get notified. Ring the bell so you get notified. And also subscribe to Sarah at Nerdtainment because me and Sarah are doing so much stuff. Like Sarah, we're doing BBAU. Sarah's recapping BB All-Stars with David, her co-host. They cover so much. There's Sight Unseen, which is an amazingly fun. I can't wait to go back because the married episode was really fun. But I did notice that Chell had his earphones like kind of weird. So there were this little thing, when you're married to someone and you notice them, like I would have went and straightened his earphones. Ear thingies. So
you look at your husband differently than everybody else. Yeah.
He goes, you're always cleaning me. I go, I can't help it. Like I don't have a baby or a kid. So like I'm, loving you and raising you too. Plus he's younger. So But so make sure I left the link in the description, Nerdtainment. You guys go sub.
Thank you.
Follow us at Good Pop, all the good stuff. We're getting
appreciate that.
Yes.
Hunter/Bradley Boy is in the chat, and it is his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Bradley
birthday
Boy.
to you.
And he has Christian from Survivor as his pick. I love it.
Right. Don't we love that? Of course.
I wonder what Christian's doing. And I also know this is a little off topic, but it is entertainment. And what is he doing? And is he going to come back on Survivor? Tell me.
He is a professor at my alma mater. He's at Florida State University as a professor, which I just love because, it's my school, but I wish that I wasn't older than him. Like I wanted him to be my teacher, although he's teaching in science fields that I would never take classes in. But I also feel bad that he's stuck in that town because it is a small little country bumpkin town. And that university is just about the only big exciting thing happening in that town.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So like everything's connected, it's like the Kevin Bacon thing, but it's with Christian from Survivor.
Exactly.
And then I know you and it's crazy.
Right. We're all connected.
But I feel like he'll be invited back for a future season of Survivor because he was such a fan favorite and he was a cutie patootie and he also was really good at like endurance and lots of things.
And he's really good at just talking to people and making them step down off of competitions.
Yeah, he did. Oh, I remember that now. So many epic moments, and I miss me some Survivor, and I know you do too, Sarah. And hopefully, there'll be production for it, and we will get a Survivor season eventually. Eventually,
we will.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna get Survivor before we get Big Brother.
Yes. Can we talk about that for a second? So
the
numbers are crazy on the rise in LA and in the United States. We're the highest in LA County in the country. I recently did a little vid about this. And I know you've been talking about it. For Sarah and I have talked offline, and maybe Sarah coming up from a production standpoint, you've worked in production. They would have to have the production staying on site at this point, right?
Yeah. At this point, they really do. They have to, just like the house guests of Big Brother, they would have to I think it would be called sequester, but all of the crew would have to move into a second house together and live and work together. And I know that it's worth it for some people in production because they work gig to gig. and they've been out of work for months. And so if that means you have to move in and not see your family for a couple of months, I'm sure that they'll do it. It's just a lot of logistics and setup. But you know who already does that? Survivor. They already go to Fiji and live and work there. So they're already used to that kind of mindset. And Fiji is an area that is doing fine. So they can actually make that happen.
That is such a good point. I have space on that with Survivor, the fact that they all have to stay there. You know, you just watch it from home and you're like, it's magic. I don't know how they make it happen.
It's totally magic.
But yeah, and there was talk of them offering up the Fiji house where they film that new show. What's it called? I always forget. It's that love show. It's on CBS.
Love Island or something?
Yes, Love Island.
Oh.
So they talked about using that house for Big Brother. Right. And I think it's in Fiji as well. And
I know they talked about that, but like, that's not set up. I don't think it's quite set up the same. So I don't know if that would work with the cameras and everything. It would be a little different if they were to do that. But I understand the considering it, because that way they can get all the crew and everybody there and just shut it down so that you're as safe and healthy as possible.
Also, Julie, because what we saw with BB Can, Arissa started hosting from home. So I feel like we'd see Julie hosting from home. And if she did go in, it would be obviously no live audience, which Arissa did, I think, a couple times. But once it got bad, she was off from home.
Yeah. Yeah. Julie's not going to go in because, there's definitely not going to be an audience. And so why even have Julie there? So, even if they move out of the country. But bad news, Europe looks like they're probably not going to open the doors to America because America is we're leaders, you guys. We're leading in the numbers.
I think yesterday or today we hit 46,000, like a daily high. And then everywhere else, it's like Italy's got 500 cases and we're like, 30, 40,000. So it's
so there's not even a lot of options for us. Like Fiji is probably the only place willing to bring Americans in to shoot.
Yes. And like Max is saying, due to lack of Survivor, I've been watching Survivor AU. Well, you know what? I think maybe I'm going to have to check out because me and Sarah already watch Survivor, or we watch Big Brother Australia. And that's been fun.
The best. So good.
It is so good. And then we cover it every Thursday on Entertainment. Make sure you guys sub. Okay. Let's get into, I like that little Survivor Big Brother start because I feel like that's me and Sarah's roots.
That is who we are at our core.
So let's get a life update. Sarah, how is it going? How was your week?
Oh, yeah. Well, a lot like that. I don't know. It's a lot of the same old, and just like waking up every day to new records that the state of California or Los Angeles County or America is hitting in scary things. And, you try not to live in fear, but you also need to be aware and make wise choices. So it's a lot of that this week. I am taking this week off coming up. Good. And even though, obviously I'm not like got some big grand trip planned or anything, but just stepping away, I feel like I need it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are sort of it's the middle of the year. We've hit the midpoint. And I am just looking forward to sort of detaching and taking a breather.
Yes. I think that is like even just a little mental vacay is good. It's good to do with Jovi, producer Douglas. Is he going to take off too?
Yes, he's taking off. We're both taking off. We're going to try a little mini road trip. We're literally packing everything. We're packing cleaning supplies. We're packing all the food because we just don't want to, have to be like, oh, let's pull over and grab something. We just don't want to put ourselves in that situation. So it's taking a lot of planning.
It is a lot of planning because I have a friend and she just posted on Instagram that her and her boyfriend were driving through Texas and Arizona. They both caught COVID.
Well, yeah,
So
Texas doesn't seem to be doing well.
no, Arizona, not at all. Like Arizona
Yikes.
bars, I have a lot of friends that still live in Arizona because I lived there for so long. And my friend Nicole is one of my besties. She posted about how the bars are still like, should we close or shouldn't we close? Yeah, because these people, like Scottsdale bars especially, it's a huge like going out nightclubs. Like I used to live right over there. I could walk to clubs back in my drinking days. Oh, Sarah, it was the life. Okay, it was the drunken life. But people
this
are
is
still
not the time for that.
No, I commented on it. I'm like, just drink at home like a real adult. Why do you have to go to a bar?
That is what adults do. That's right.
No.
You get your own bottle of wine or booze or whatever your taste is. And also pick up donuts or whatever it is that you like.
Exactly. Robyn wants to know, Sarah, what was the last day? So we'll get to the astrology minute in a second. But what was that last day to not make big decisions? That was Thursday, right?
To not make, for Mercury retrograde, to not sign any contracts or anything like that. Yeah. Was that this Thursday or the week before? It was the 18th.
It was the last Thursday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know what day it is or what the date is, but I do remember it was the 18th. So yeah, it was like a week or so ago. Yeah. So just don't sign any contracts for another like week and a half to 2 weeks.
Okay. Yes. And look at Mama Bev. She's so good in the chat. She's like 18th. She's got the numbers. Well, I'm so happy to hear that you're taking some time for yourself because you and Douglas both work really hard and you're putting out a lot of great content. And I know I appreciate you because I like collabing.
Oh, yes.
So you deserve
What about you? What's your life update?
Oh, well, same as you. Waking up in 2020 every day. Yeah, a lot of the same. Let's see. We're still out in the desert, and I think we might be going back. We went back to LA briefly yesterday to drop off some things because eventually Chel's mom is going to want her house back, and I get it. You know, it's her house. But we again feel so lucky and blessed to be able to be out here. But there are things I forgot about desert living. Like Sarah, have you ever lived in the desert before?
No.
Okay. Well, you
and I've only visited it a couple times.
I love the desert. Like I never thought I'd fall in love with it as much as I do, but there are things you have to get used to. And I'm sure you're used to this in like Florida. There's big bugs, right?
Yes.
Well, the desert, obviously, you got scorps, you got scorpions, you got snakes, I haven't seen any of those. We have a lot of cute little geckos that go on the stucco of the home and stuff outside. And I always am trying to make sure Tilly doesn't kill them because I'm like, no, they're good and cute.
Oh,
and
no.
Adorable. But we also have, and we had this in Arizona, these giant flying cockroaches.
Really?
Yes. So they're outside. And so back in the day when I lived in Scottsdale, I would leave my patio door open because the Arizona weather a lot of the year is just gorgeous. Yeah. And then the summer, because right now today out here in the desert, it's like 114, which is ridiculous.
That's a lot.
But then once the later fall, winter, spring, gorgeous. So these big cockroaches would fly in. So I had to put my screen door on. And then when I would go out of town, or if I was leaving my house, if you live in the city, you have to close your drains because you could get sewer roaches that climb up. So coming back out to the desert, both of those things are true. So we spray and everything. And there's people that spray in this area. Yeah. We live in we're staying in this kind of gated area. We're so bougie now. But I've watched these roaches climb up out of the drain, and I hope no one is going to have nightmares, but I have to share this with somebody.
I am. Yes.
So we'll spray, and then they won't be around for a while, but if we wait 3 weeks, they'll start coming back up. So I was in the bathroom the other day, sitting down, as you do, not going to tell you what I was doing. It's irrelevant, but
you're having a seat. Yeah.
I was having a seat, just relaxing. I reached over to the toilet paper and something climbed on my hand, and it was a giant outdoor cockroach, and I could feel its little fingers and germs, and I shook my hand off. I started screaming. My cat Tilly, who normally is she's supposed to be the bug, this girl, I said, you got two jobs: be lovable and kill the bugs, and then you don't have to pay rent. Well, she was just eating her food, you deal with it. So I'm screaming. He's on the wall now. I'm I always grabbed some 409, was spraying it, and I called Chell in, and Chell had to kill it. And I'm not used to this. Where Chell, he lived in the desert a lot longer than me. When he visited his grandparents in Mexico, the climate there in the area they lived also had, like bugs like that. So he's like, they're just all over the place. You just get used to it. Like when you go for walks around here at night, you might step on one of these outdoor roaches. And but growing up in Minnesota, it was like you only had roaches if you left something out or something was dirty. You know what I mean? But here, they're just all over. So it went on my hand, Sarah.
That's awful, Jolene. My heart breaks for you. I'm freaking out for you. I'm sweating for you.
I know.
I had no idea that this was a desert thing. I mean, I grew up in Florida, and you just basically live with them, and they're flying, and they're huge, and they're disgusting, and they're everywhere. And I think I was fairly used to it as a child, but we don't have them in Los Angeles. I don't see them. So I would be like you, like freaking out.
Oh, I was totally, and Chell was just loving it. He thought it was hilarious because, again, when you grow up with certain things, like when we lived in Minnesota for a little bit, there was wood ticks. And, either you can get lots of, Lyme disease, bad stuff, but you kind of get used to like where my parents live. If you walk in brush or grass that's high during a certain time of year, a couple times a year, you might get wood ticks and they burrow. Yeah. I feel like I should have given like a trigger warning. I'm sorry, you guys.
A little bit.
Yeah. If you're triggered by I'm so sorry. I really should have, because there might be people who have legit phobias, and I apologize in advance. But Chell would get wood ticks and he'd freak out. And for me, it was like, you get a wood tick, you pull it off. Yeah. So I was used to that. So it's just, like you said, what you're used to. But these giant cockroaches, I can't.
Wow. Yeah.
Can't.
Did not know that about the desert. Good to know.
Faith, I'm so sorry. Thank you for
very delicious.
She says, this is a bad time to have decided to eat dinner. I'm so sorry. I should have said something, you guys. I apologize. But yeah.
We're going to move off of bugs now.
Off of bugs. So other than that, I've done I know I did an update on my, eating and stuff like that. Tomorrow I finished my little 2-week Dr. Oz thingy. Feel great.
Oh.
Again, it's only 2 weeks. So I'm trying to make this not a diet, a live it. That's what Kanye said to call it. Don't call it a diet, called a live it. And you can't do this thing for a long period of time because it's, you're restricting yourself of things. Yeah. But I definitely feel better. So
okay, good.
We talked to our nutritionist yesterday morning, and she was really excited for us. And
good.
So it's really cool. So that's where I'm at.
That's wonderful. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yes, lifestyle changes. That's wonderful.
Okay. So yes, I'm sorry. We won't talk about bugs anymore, but thank you guys. Let's just completely transition into what has become my favorite part of the podcast, which is the Mama Bev / Sarah Astrology Minute.
Astrology Minute. Yes. Okay. Well, today, Mars enters Aries, and Aries is the sign that rules Mars. So this is like double the energy. And it usually is only for a couple of months, but this year it's lasting for 6 months. I don't understand why it's longer this year, but apparently it is. And Mars and Aries are both very active. They're a bit angry. They're very physical. They're impulsive, independent. So these are reactive. Like these are all the feelings we're going to have like surging up in us over the next 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a good reminder to try to think before acting like that. We're going to just start being impulsive and just want to act immediately. So we're going to really have to work hard at sort of anger management and considering before actually moving on something.
Wow. That is, I just saw Mama Bev commented. So I said, because it will go retrograde in Aries and go direct again, that takes time. So that's why it's longer. I was going to say just because it's 2020 and that would be our luck.
Basically.
Well, that
was like, let me do things differently.
Exactly. That's so interesting because I feel like myself, everything that's going on this year and with the pandemic and just everything out there, I really have looked internally and been like, Jolene, you need to be less judgmental. One, I mean, I'm still going to be judgy McJudgerson when I make my videos and like, you know, and I do shady stuff. But I mean, just when I'm like out and about, be more patient. Don't get mad when driving. Let people ahead of you at grocery stores. Like, remember, those are important things. Like, no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. And also just like to check myself to not be a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs person who's just getting mad about stuff that we can't control. And we're all in this time of like, you know, a lot of people are suffering. So just give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, and it's hard. I mean, I see a couple Aries in the chat, and I know Joleen is married to an Aries, and these are not negative things. It's just like you want to be active, like you want to be not aggressive in a negative way, but you like impulsive, like you want to act out, and you're used to that. I'm talking to these Aries in the chat. You're used to that, and like being told that like you have to stay home and do less things is really hard for an Aries in general. And so, you know, it's an added layer for all of us right now that we have to, even though we want to like go out and do, we can't. We have to like restrain ourselves. And we have to consider before we yell at everybody. It's basics. I also have to just add, because I'm not sure that we're going to do a video next week, but next Saturday is a full moon and lunar eclipse in Capricorn. Next Saturday, July 4th. And so this whole week, we will be feeling the energy building up to that. But Capricorn is a very grounded, practical sense. So you might start thinking about your job and your work and like organizing and stuff like that. And just roll with that this week.
Wow. So who's Capricorn? You're not Capricorn. No, I don't even know what
Capricorn.
Oh, yes.
It's December and early January. But
Okay.
they're an earth sign, so they're very practical and they like organization. They're very work oriented. They're worker bee type people. So you might be thinking about your job a lot this week and how you want to reorg and make practical choices.
Gosh, I love this astrology. I'm like, I just want this to now be the astrology podcast, but we have so many good news and pop culture things that we have to include both of them. So let's get started. Thank you for that, Sarah and Mama Bev. That was amazing. I feel like we need a graphic to pop up with like Mama Bev, like this is the Mama Bev astrology minute. And then it's like Mama Bev.
Well, and also just side note, Mama Bev now has all of Joleen's birth information and is working on Joleen's chart. So one of these days, we're going to get to know Joleen even more, if you can imagine.
Oh my gosh. And I'm so excited. Chell also, when we went back, I looked at my birth certificate when we were in our apartment, and Chell looked at his and he was like, can you ask Sarah to ask Mama Bev how much it would be for her to give me a chart too? So we'll put that offline, but he was really excited about that because both of us know very little. So when Sarah was at our house one time, when we were covering the circle, you were sharing the stuff and we're both like, what?
Right. And it's really fun to do like a couple and like compare charts, and you see where you line up and you see where you're going to have some disagreements.
Well, and you at the time didn't know a lot about our relationship, and we were both just like, that's what he does. That's what I do. Like it all made so much sense. And I've never been, you know, someone who's gotten into astrology. It's always, you know, interests me, but I'm like, that's a lot of learning. Yeah. And I
just let someone else tell you.
Yeah, just let someone else. And so I'm excited for that. But then I hope we do a breakdown of you too, Sarah, and then we can compare the both of us.
We can do
it. Okay. So do you want to start with a little pop culture entertainment news? Do you have a story for us?
I do. One story that I'm super excited about is that this was a very big week with voice actors stepping down from jobs of white voice actors playing non-white characters. We had Jenny Slate. She stepped down. She does a role called Missy on Big Mouth. And she put out her statement saying Black characters on an animated show should be played by Black people. in my playing Missy, I was engaging in an act of erasure of Black people. And that kind of started, I think, a little bit of a trend. Then Kristen Bell stepped down she voices Molly on Central Park, and she said, "This is a time to acknowledge our acts of complicity. Casting a mixed race character with a white actress undermines the specificity of the mixed race and Black American experience." I thought those were both beautiful statements of stepping up. That led McHenry voices Cleveland Brown on Family Guy. And then The Simpsons just did a flat statement saying that moving forward, The Simpsons will no longer have white actors voice non-white characters. And this is a huge step because it has been a discussion in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry. We have acknowledged that this is going on, but no changes were actually being made. And so this week, I feel like, is a huge step forward.
I agree. I think this is something, like you said, that has been talked about forever. The Simpsons has been criticized for years about Hank Azaria and Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that this is a step in the right direction, especially giving more work and opening up for people of color to actually play people of color, and to have voice, because I think a lot of like voice acting too, the field itself is very dominated by Caucasian actors and voice actors. It is. Mm-hmm. So, and I was surprised. I just Googled McHenry because I didn't know who played Cleveland Brown's voice. And I was like, I did not expect it to be that dude,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a thing for voice actors who can really manipulate their voice and do lots of different characters. Like, obviously, adults play babies, girls play boys. Like, it is a skill that they are proud of, that they can do that. But I think what Ginny and Kristen both said in their statements is like, this is just a bigger issue. Like, we are erasing Black American culture, and that is what we need to step up to and say, that's not okay. I saw a lot of people online, Twitter being like, it's a cartoon, like whatever, who cares? But it is more than that. This is big picture of progress. And so we need to be taking these steps forward.
Exactly. I completely agree with that. I love that they're doing that. And I love that actors like Jenny Slate and stuff are stepping up and being like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah. They should feel uncomfortable and they should step down from those jobs, and they're doing it. So
and they'll get more work. Like this will
they're fine.
You guys don't realize, like, if you just box it in like that, this will open us up to so many more artists and voices and cool stuff. This is all it's doing. It's not hindering anybody. If anything, it's opening up the market even more. So yeah, you'll see people are very, change, and they kind of want to get upset about progress, and it's like, nah, it's just progress. It's good.
Nope, get on board.
Get on board with us. Okay, so I always have to report about whoever Evan Peters has dated or been associated with at all, because I'm obsessed with Evan Peters. Is he still
with Halsey?
Yeah, thank God. I mean, don't leave Halsey. They're like my new favorite relationship, so they better not break up. But his ex, Emma Roberts, is expecting her first child. So speaking of baby news, and she's with a guy, I don't know who he is, but according to Pop Sugar, she's going to be a mom, the American Horror Story actor. She's 29, which makes me feel old because I'm like, no, she's like 20. She's a baby.
She's been 20 for a long time. Yeah.
Right. She's just been Julia Roberts' little niece, and not to, discredit her career. It's just, she looks a lot like her auntie. So
yeah.
So she's 29. She's expecting her first child with boyfriend Garrett Hedlund, who's 35. Great. Us Weekly reports the couple was first linked back in March 2019, and they were spotted holding hands while walking around LA. That's always how they're spotted.
Totally.
Their news of their romance came shortly after Emma ended her engagement with on again, off again boyfriend and former AHS co-star Evan Peters. Evan Peters. Emma and Garrett have kept their relationship pretty under wraps. I agree. I didn't hear much about it. Heard a lot about her and Evan. Not a good match. Not everyone's a good match. Nope. Since they officially started dating and have only made a handful of low-key outings together. I love that. So congratulations to them and Emma Roberts. And my friend was actually, she was on, what was the show? Scream Queens, and she did a couple episodes, and she would text me from the trailer because she didn't know anything about like celebrity gossip, pop culture, and I guess Emma and them were talking about it, and she was like, Joleen, I'm supposed to go to lunch, but I don't know what they're talking about. Like, she didn't even know about Kardashians. Like, she's off the radar of this stuff. And I was like, you're like in the trailer with all of them on Scream Queens, you know, being Billy. I always forget her last name, but
yeah, that was a fun cast.
It's a super fun cast. So congratulations.
I saw that headline pop up and I was like, Garrett Hedlund. I was like, I kind of know that name, but I don't know who it is. So I immediately Googled him and I was like, oh, he's scrumptious. And then it just happened to randomly in the images of Garrett, there's an image of him running with Charlie Hunnam, who played Jax on Sons of Anarchy. And I am in love. And the two of them were like running just shirtless, obviously. And it was like, it stopped me in my tracks, that photo. I had to tweet it out because I was just like, I'm drooling over this picture right now. These two hotties just like being hot friends together.
Sarah, I do want to tell you, you know, I live near Runyon Canyon and I very often, you know, would hike there. And on 2 separate occasions, Mr. Charlie, what's his last name? Jax Hunnam. Literally eye contact, walk past me once when we were on the main trail and then once when we were like off a side trail. So it was just me and Chell and then him and his guy friend. It's always been him and a guy. Well, no, it was once him and a woman and she was very thin, very beautiful. And I was just like, and I smiled, he smiled. It was, and let me tell you, dreamy in person. I watched Sons of Anarchy and I was like, okay, yeah, we see his butt a lot. This is nice. But in person, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And Chell's like, who? And I'm like, Chell, that's Jax. That's from Sons of Anarchy. And he's like, cool. And Chell is not at all Jax. And I was like, that's Jax. And it's Jax Teller. And, you know, so yes, I feel like, and we were like, this close there. Like I could have gotten pregnant. We were so close. Oh my God. So
I'm so mad that you didn't. Yeah.
It was a time. It was a time.
He's a special one. I've never seen him in person, but he is a regular at the restaurant that I used to work at that you went with me. And everyone would talk about him being a regular and he never came in during my shifts. And I was just so mad.
Like the ones we want to meet. And then, you know, you're just over there serving Evan Peters, my lady boner person.
Yeah,
and,
I got him. I didn't get Charlie. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's beautiful. Thank you. We all watch Queer Eye, right? Queer Eye should be mandatory viewing. It's such a good series, so well made, and I love all of the guys who do it. But there's like this running joke that in lots of different memes I've seen where they all do just a little like Tan's like, tuck your shirt in, but just in front. And Anthony's like, here's how you dice an avocado. And then Bobby's like, I did your whole house. You know, like Bobby does way more work than any of them. And I love this running joke. Also, this story comes with a little bit of TikTok. I don't do TikTok, so you guys understand this more than me, but apparently you can duet on TikTok. Yes. Okay, so somebody, random TikTok user 1.0, did this kind of running joke of like, I just do this. And then Bobby redid the whole house. She's doing a TikTok about that. And so Bobby duetted along with it and was like, and I loved it.
Oh my gosh. Well, Chell just sent me a thing to not do TikTok. He keeps sending me these articles why I shouldn't be on TikTok.
Why?
So I think there's lots of like privacy issues. I haven't read them yet because I'm not ready to get off. But yeah, he keeps like saying, don't do TikTok.
Oh, I'm keep gearing myself up. One day I'm going to get on. I just haven't done it yet.
Night of Light says, I grew up with Jonathan Van Ness. I mean,
JVN is the best.
That first season, especially because when they rebooted it was like, how is it going to go? But it was so they did the production, just everything with the storylines and all the backgrounds, just tears for years, just tears. Every episode,
all the tears. We watched when my sister gave birth to her daughter, my niece, my everything. I went and lived with them for the first 3 weeks of my niece's life to like help them through this. And we all emotions, as you can imagine, we're all like going through them. And that's when that first season dropped and we like binged, you know, within a couple days. And there was not a dry eye. Like we were so emotional watching it. It's such a good memory. Oh,
It is. Oh, that is a good memory. And I just saw a little video of your niece. I forget what she was doing. I think she was at a restaurant, or no, she was like in her high chair, and it was the cutest. But what was she doing? Remind me.
She was just dancing. She was just like eating, and she was just doing this while she's eating because she's the coolest little baby in the world. She's only 2. First off, she's wearing a cape, which I was like, very good, sister, very good. But she was just like eating chips and like cheese or something, and she was like.
She was just feeling herself, feeling life. I love it.
Oh, she's so great.
She is so cute. Faith is asking, who's Jonathan? Well, we're going to.
Faith, do you have Netflix? Even if you don't, Google it.
Yes, Google it.
Queer Eye. So good.
Definitely. Okay, so Miley Cyrus is back in the news because she is revealing that she's been sober. This is what the headline says. Sober for 6 months. Miley Cyrus has opened up about her journey with sobriety, which I didn't know this was even her journey. So this is great. Revealing that she's been officially sober for 6 months. In a recent interview on the iHeartRadio podcast, The Big Ticket, Miley said, "It's been really important for me over the last year living a sober lifestyle because I really wanted to polish up my craft." The topic of sobriety isn't a new one for Miley, who has been outspoken about her experiences with marijuana in the past and has been extremely open about her drug use in general on social media. Miley explained that her sobriety began back in November when she had surgery on her vocal cords. I remembered that because that's when she started dating this like Australian cutie who I think like surfs or something. That's how I remember it. Crazy.
That's right.
And was on a strict talking ban for 4 weeks in order to recover properly. While recovering, she said that it got her thinking about her family history. "I had been thinking a lot about my mother," said Miley. "My mom was adopted and I inherited some of the feelings she had, the abandonment feelings and wanting to prove that you're wanted and valuable. My dad's parents divorced when he was 3, so my dad raised himself. I did a lot of family history, which has a lot of addiction and mental health challenges. So just going through that and asking, why am I the way I am? By understanding the past, we understand the present and the future more clearly." So she's admitting that, it's been hard, but it was her decision to get sober because there's often a stigma attached to it. And as a person who got sober myself, there is definitely stigma. People assume we never really talk about in society, which I think is a hot mess, that we don't talk about functioning alcoholism and functioning addicts, because there are far more functioning addicts out there. And you just have the kind of amped up intervention type, addiction stories, which I think keeps a lot of people from getting sober and being their best selves, because we say, well, if you're functioning, which means you're keeping your job, you're not necessarily going to jail, then just keep using, keep drinking, keep doing whatever. But so many of us out there who are functioning are really struggling mentally and in so many other aspects of our, addiction. And because I still have a lot of friends who are like, "Joleen, you can drink again." And I'm like, no, because I knew I had it in my family, just like Miley, a history of alcoholism. And I know what I want for my life and how I want to be my best self. And I was not my best self drunk. I was my worst possible self. So I always say, when people ask me, I'm like, I cannot tell you if you need to get sober. I do not know your life. But if it makes you worse than you are as a person, don't do it. It should be a fun. Like if you're going to smoke a little weed, you should feel good. You should have a little fun. If you're going to drink a little, you should feel good. But if it makes you worse, angry, mean, someone you don't want to be, then maybe it's not for you.
Right.
And so maybe this is what Miley's figured out. So she said, "The thing that I love about it is waking up 100% of the time," said Miley. "I don't want to wake up feeling groggy. I want to wake up feeling ready." And I think that statement is beautiful and amazing. And for me, when I got sober off of, alcohol, for the first time, I was waking up with no anxiety of what did I say? Who did I piss off?
Oh, wow.
What did I do? Because I became like a blackout drinker, And that is with already having anxiety, add that onto it, and you're just like waking up with a panic attack. So for me, I understand what she's saying. And I think that's it's beautiful when people find their own, path and try to get the things out of their way that's holding them back. So good for Miley, girl.
Absolutely. I had not heard that she was on this journey, but I'm so glad that she's speaking out about it because, she did speak out about drugs. We all knew she was using them. To what degree, obviously, we don't know. But to then tell her audience and the people who look up to her that she's going on this sober journey and that she feels so much better, that's wonderful news to be sharing with people. So that's great to hear.
Yes, it's always great to just anything when you're talking about mental health, talking about addiction, anything, to talk about it, because it does destigmatize it. You know, slow but steady, one day we will destigmatize these things. And I think we've seen progress, you know, with addiction and with mental health.
Yeah. And she's got such a beautiful voice. And when people who are just super, super talented are using, it makes me nervous because I want them to be strong and healthy and keep that skill up and like share it with us. And I worry that they just decline. And so she's still young. Getting her act together and like getting on the straight and narrow is fantastic. We're going to have that voice forever.
In your 20s to have that kind of clarity. I wish I had it in my early 30s, like very early, but still I would have loved to have that kind of realization in my 20s. So right on, Miley. Thank you, Diana, for the super chat.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Jolene is inspiring.
I appreciate you guys saying that. But one thing, I will always be very transparent about my mental health and my struggle and path and journey in life with, you know, being sober and addiction, because I think it's important. I am not ashamed one bit. Am I ashamed of stuff I did when I was drunk? Heck yeah. But that's kind of a motivating factor that keeps you sober too. So. All right. What do you got, Sarah?
Okay. Well, I love musicals. I grew up doing musicals. Please give me all the musicals. I want to sing and dance like I'm in a musical at all times. And the original cast of Rent is going to virtually reunite tomorrow for a Broadway Celebrates Pride performance that's happening. Idina Menzel, Anthony Rapp, Tay Diggs, Jesse L. Martin, Adam Pascal. They will be performing Seasons of Love. Okay, if you don't know the musical Rent, you at least have to know that song. It's played a lot. You should know it. And you probably know half that cast, even though you didn't know that they performed on Broadway. But they're so talented. And I get so excited about this kind of stuff. And so, yay. That's happening.
Well, you did tell me when I was like, what have you been up to today? You're like, just singing show tunes around the house. That's love that you know that much and love musical theater, because I've never seen Rent. I've never seen Cats. I've never seen Chicago. I shouldn't
be shocked. I think that's average. I think you're a normal person. If you didn't grow up wanting to be in musicals, then you just don't know them. But now Rent is just, it's so good. It was written in the 90s when the AIDS crisis was like very big. And it's about artists in New York struggling to pay their rent. And it's such good music and it's such a good musical. And I love it. I recommend everyone learning about all the musicals, but that's one that you can start with.
Yay. Well, I do remember there was a musical episode of Buffy. So I think it was season 6, and that was a good one, Once More with Feeling. So, but yeah, I did a little theater in high school, and they did Oklahoma that year. I wasn't in it. I've never been. I enjoy singing. Obviously, I sing my little, ditties that I do for the beginning of my videos and stuff, but I'm not like a singer. I don't think I have a range or whatever the singing languages, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you, a Paul alto, or what is it called? Like, I don't know.
Sure. You got a soprano, an alto, mezzo, soprano, something in there. I love Oklahoma, and Ado Annie is like the sidekick in Oklahoma. She's not the lead girl. She's the side. And that was my dream role in high school. I just wanted to play Ado Annie. She's like quirky and weird. And the song she sings is I Can't Say No. And she's talking about like guys come at her and she just can't say no. It's so fun. And I was like begging all of my theater people, because I was in a lot of theater. I'm like, put on Oklahoma, please, please, please. And finally, my high school choral group was putting on Oklahoma, and I was like, here I am. And I auditioned for Ado Annie with all of the character that you can imagine teenage Sarah has. And they were like, no, thank you. We're going to cast this very like choral type singer for the role. And I was so mad. Oops. I was so angry and so mad that I stormed into my choral director's office and said, because she like cast me as like ensemble or something when I didn't get the role. And I was like, no, thank you. I'll be leaving your production. I'm too good for you.
Oh my gosh, I love this diva moment, Sarah.
Yeah, that's a glimpse at 16-year-old Sarah. She thought she was full of it. She was full of it. She thought she was very, very amazing. And yep, that's my story about Oklahoma. Never got to play Ado Annie, you guys. Super depressing.
There's still hope, right? You still can.
It's not going to ever happen.
Why not? Why not? Why do we put
if I put on the production in my garage, maybe then it can happen. Yeah.
Let's do a live stream production of Oklahoma and all the ensemble. Well, people are agreeing with you on the, let's see. Well, this is a good one. Don't forget to sign the petition for anti-racism action in Survivor. Yes, I heard that there was a thing about that with Wendell and stuff. Okay. Yes, Diana, singing amazingly alone in my shower or in my car.
Absolutely.
So good. I love how Morris was kind of calling it singing Sarah in 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Yes. We all have our diva moments. Love it. Love it. Well, I think there's still hope for you, Sarah, that you can.
Thank you.
All the roles that you want to play. I will buy all the tickets. I will go there. We will fill it up. All right. Should we move on to some good news since we're
okay?
Do you want to start? Or do you want?
Sure. Okay. This was a lovely thing I saw online. I didn't mean to still be in the Broadway world, but there's a Broadway actor. His name is Robert Hartwell, and he just bought his first house. But the way that he posted it online was very, very special. It's this big white, like colonial mansion. And this is what he said. The house was built in 1820 for the Russell family who owned the cotton mill in town. I wish I could have told my ancestors when they were breaking their back in 1820 to build this house that 200 years later, a free gay black man was going to own it and fill it with love and find a way to say their name, even when 200 years later, they still thought I would be off the table. We are building our own tables. He is talking about reclaiming this like slave owner, this like that world, and buying that house to reclaim and honor his ancestors and honor himself and his accomplishments. The house was like a cash only offer sale. And the realtor was like, something like, I'm sure that takes you off the table. And he was like, no, it does not take me off the table. He bought that house. And that's what he's referring to, saying we're building our own tables.
Wow. That is, I mean, not surprising, that realtor's reaction. We are learning, I mean, continually learning all the biases and prejudice that goes along with that. But that's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought that was interesting because everyone can have different perspectives. Like you can look at one of those old houses and like hate the history, but he really took it from like, no, I'm going to purchase that. I'm going to change the vibe and the energy and, you know, reclaim it and honor his ancestors. Yeah. Really cool.
I feel like this is a moment where we're seeing a lot of that just around the country, like reclaiming spaces, even spaces with, you know, certain statues and monuments and things like that are constant reminders of like, these people aren't heroes. This was very problematic. And so that's beautiful. That is so great. I love it. Okay. So my story, I didn't read it yet because I didn't want to cry and I had a feeling I might cry. And I was like, Jolene, you don't want to cry yet. I was on the phone earlier with Busy Blue and he always makes me laugh a lot. So I was like, I do not want to be crying before I get on the phone. So I did not read it. But the title alone makes me want to cry. So garbage men break down in tears when residents surprise them with a thank you party attended by the mayor. And I'm already just like, these essential workers and people who are out there in the streets during a pandemic, during all this, just like we forget, like, these are the people that should be making money. Like, we should be paying them a living wage, all these things. I don't want to get on too much of a soapbox here, you guys, but it's like, we forget that these are such important jobs that we just like, we forget how important important these people are. Okay, get off your soapbox, Jolene. All right. So Saul and Keon have never missed a day of work picking up trash in Miami Beach. Ooh. And they're especially glad, I'm sorry, this is also from Good News Network, just to give them a shout out. And they're especially glad they were covering their route this week as a beautiful surprise awaited them when their huge truck rolled down the street into the North Bay Road community. They found scores of residents who had gotten up early to line the street with signs and balloons, all to simply say, "We love you." Jennifer Elegant wanted to show her family's appreciation, so she organized the socially distancing surprise thank you celebration to honor the essential workers who she called extraordinary. Even the Miami Beach mayor, Dan Gelber, I think his name is, showed up to salute them because Saul Scruggs and Keon Richardson do so much more than pick up trash. They bring an incredible positive energy to the entire neighborhood, Jennifer told Good News Network. Simply put, they spread joy. What is particularly special about these two men is the positive energy they bring with them. They always have smiles on their faces and never miss an opportunity to say hello and brighten someone's day. They also got out of their way to help, or went out of their way to help others and expect nothing in return. One day, Saul spent 45 minutes helping a neighbor dig through her trash to help her look for her lost wedding ring. I mean, I would not do that. I would not.
Oh my gosh, no.
He also waited over an hour with another neighbor who was having heart issues and needed an ambulance. I mean, they're doing it all.
Whoa.
Jennifer has had meaningful discussions with these amazing sanitation workers about their inspiring levels of happiness and often share their wisdom with her Miami-Dade college psychology students. They continue to maintain their upbeat demeanor even during the stressful COVID-19 pandemic, sacrificing their own safety in order to keep our city clean and beautiful. Every day we are surrounded by heroes who bring us inspiration and joy, but too often we are unable to recognize these special individuals for the impact they make on others. I wanted Saul and Keon to know that we are thankful from the bottom of our hearts. So they gave them like gift bags and presents and cards, and like a mini trash truck from a little boy gave them a garbage truck. They were presented to these essential workers from the many people who appreciate them. And I'm just looking at the pictures here, and they have masks, and they did end up hugging. I do hugs, but I mean, sometimes we.
Wow. I don't know my trash men, women, whoever they are. I have no idea. Wow.
I mean, it's just.
If that was my job, if I picked up trash all day, every day, and a woman was like, "I can't find my wedding ring," I'd be like, "Okay, here, I'm just not going to pick up that one. I'll leave it." And then I'd be on my way. Like,
I mean, I am not as kind at all as Saul and Keon.
I'd be like, "Well, you should probably keep it then. Go through it. I'll see you next week."
And to stay when someone has heart issues, like what are these sanitation workers
really nice.
are just of all trades, they can do everything.
My goodness, that is lovely.
And props to the neighborhood for just recognizing them. And I wish the only thing I wish is that the mayor would have showed up with like a check or something, because I would love for a little bit of my tax dollars would go to bonuses for essential workers or something. Because if they're not going to get paid, I mean, I feel like they obviously should have COVID pay for being out during a pandemic. I don't know how that works and with unions and stuff like that, if they're covered through that. But I know for one thing, when we were all super quarantined, which I think might be happening soon again in Los Angeles County, which I'm fine with because let's get these numbers under control. But we, all this much garbage, you don't realize all the garbage, which is another thing, that I've been more cognizant of, like how much toilet paper I use when we couldn't get toilet paper and things like that.
I know these essential workers, like we have a friend of a friend, like it's more of someone who Douglas knows that I don't know, but like she worked for an airline when all of this happened. She lost her job. And so she started working at a grocery store because like, hey, I need to work, and that's who's hiring, and that's where I got to work. And now she has COVID, and it's just like, these people are working through this hard time. And Yes,
They
give
deserve
them
hazard pay or whatever they call it.
yes.
But they definitely deserve it. I mean, if there's ever been a time where we were like, wow, yeah, people need to make more. People need to make a living wage, because if everything else is going to rise, so should their
Yeah.
wage, for sure. Because
Yeah.
we got a lot of people, in Washington and such, which we could cut some stuff. We cut some stuff. Cut some stuff there. Cut some per
Move the
diem.
money around a little differently. Probably.
Yes. So shout out to these guys. I mean, just
Yes.
amazing. And every time I see the recycling people and the garbage people go by in the neighborhood, I'm just like, oh, I love you.
Hi,
I love you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Because we would be living amongst our own trash. We would.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, some people have had those strikes, right? And they just like live in piles of trash.
Yeah. Diana
I haven't
says,
lived through that.
no, me neither. Diana says in the comments, my son drives for UPS. People were so nice and tipped him very well. He was very appreciative.
Oh,
yes.
good.
I
Good.
like tipping UPS, tipping any kind of my dad. I mean, obviously I'm partial to delivery drivers, things like that, because my dad worked and was a driver, big truck delivery for Pepsi for 40 plus years. So those are hard jobs, like rain, snow, sleet, everything. You have to deal with so many people and deadlines.
I really love my mailman for whatever reason, and like whichever wanted it. We just got a new one a couple years ago, but like I had built this great relationship with my old one for years, and then he retired, and then now we have a new one, and my dog likes to bark, so I like work extra hard to be like, hi, I want to be your friend, can we all like he probably thinks I'm annoying and weird, but I just am like, hi, I love you, thank you for bringing me mail.
I can see you doing that, Sarah, but once he gets to know you, he'll know that is just your friendship. It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, he's very polite to me and chats with me, and he puts up with me, so it's okay.
Yes, also male people, just like Faith says. I love male people, right?
Yes.
I mean, our male person at our apartment, he's just a sweetie. He is a sweetie. He will make sure stuff gets to you. Like, he could just drop it and be like, whatever, but he takes the time, and it's just, do we have time for one more story, or?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I'll go quick. So NASA named headquarters after Mary Jackson. She was the first Black NASA engineer. She was also one of the characters in the movie Hidden Figures. Yes. If you haven't seen that movie, you should see it. It's very cute. It's very adorable. Janelle Monáe was this role, but they just named the headquarters after her. And she has an interesting story because she was a mathematician that NASA hired, and then they offered to promote her to engineer, but she needed some extra training, and with segregation and whatnot, she wasn't allowed. They had to write a letter and get special permission for her to go through this training with the white people. And, but she did, and they promoted her to engineer, and she was the first Black engineer. And so now she gets the building named after her. And they also already had named a research facility after Katherine Johnson, which was Taraji P. Henson in the movie Hidden Figures. So I feel like NASA is already doing well with representation and an acknowledgement.
Yes.
Oh, so yeah, good job.
Good job. Good job. That is a good story to end on. I love that. I honestly haven't seen Hidden Figures. Isn't that just awful? It's
fun. Like, it's not, there is the controversial white savior involved. It's got some entertainment value license to it. It's not exactly the right story, but the actresses are amazing. It's also what's the third one? She's amazing. Okay. We all know her and love her, and they're great in it. So.
Well, Chell, he shared something, and I thought he shared it. I was looking on his Instagram, but something about just when creating, because like as creators, like we are, and writers, and I know you're in that world, and Douglas and
Octavia
stuff.
Spencer. Sorry.
Octavia, yes, I remember. When you're creating characters and you're creating people of color in your like fictitious worlds, and kind of how you said with it had the how did you phrase it? It was the white savior.
It's a white savior. Yeah.
There was someone, and I wish now, of course, I bring it up and I can't find it. And I was hoping I'd be talking loud enough that Chell could hear me, but then I remember being married. He's not paying attention. I'm talking all the
Toned you
time.
out.
He's toned me out. We love each other, but it's a lot. I feel for him.
It's all day, every day.
It's all day, every day. But no, it was just like, I think it was around animation, but it was kind of remembering these kind of holes people fall in when you are creating characters of color, and whether it's like certain colorism and then certain stereotypes that go along with that, and to just be cognizant of that. And I think that is really important for going forward when you're creating stories and stuff, to not fall into those, weird stereotypes. And
sure, if it's just a group of white people creating, what do they know? They haven't lived that experience.
They don't know. They're like,
they don't know at all.
We should be the hero. Yes, but is it the Black woman's journey? Yeah, but we should save them. Okay, sounds good. Let's do it.
What if a white dude walks in and helps her out? How about that?
That is what these writers' rooms and still, I mean, writers' rooms are not. Don't let them fool you. They're not that diverse, but some are getting better. But there's a lot that need a lot of help.
Keep working on it, guys.
Yeah, we keep working. Keep going.
Keep it up.
But there was a initiative by a comedian, and when I was still doing Twitter before I deactivated it because I was like on the verge of emotionally breaking down, there was a comic that was like white writers, because SNL has their you can submit every year, and I've submitted to write, Chelsea submitted to write before, and they were like, what if we all just take this year off and allow more people of color to submit and more voices? I retweeted like, hell yeah, let's do this, so that they're almost forced to then, hire people, because again, it's only going to get better. The product is only going to improve the more you open it up to voices that we don't normally hear from. So, yeah, that just reminded me of that. Sorry to go off on a little tangent, but who would I be if not for a tangent? So, you guys, we are up at our hour of the Good Pop podcast. I always enjoy doing it because it makes me feel better.
It sure does. It makes me feel better too. Just the music and the bright colors and seeing your face. Just, you can't help it. You get into a good mood.
Got some highlighter on my cheeks here.
Ooh,
I just threw some makeup on, bun in the hair. This is how we do it. I'm loving Sarah's pony, you guys.
This is my week of ponytail. I'm living for it.
The part down the middle and a little like long bang. I mean,
who am I? What's happening?
Life. You're giving me, as the kids would say, Sarah, you're giving me life.
You're giving me life.
I am living for your ponytail with the little bang. Okay. So thank you guys so much. Again, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up before you leave, and also leave comments after. And also feel free to send us stories, things you want us to talk about, comment on the Good Pop Pod on Instagram, where you can follow us at Good Pop Pod. You can also find myself and Sarah on social media. You can find me everywhere at Joleen Lunzer. You can find Sarah at
Sarah Atwood.
Atwood, yeah, because you have Nerdtainment, and then you have Sarah Atwood, as I have. Okay, they don't need to know all that, Jillian.
It's out there. Just Google. Yes. Look it up.
Make sure you sub to Sarah. Do you have a new episode of Sight Unseen coming out tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow we have a new one that all I will say is it's one for the records.
I'm so jealous.
I'll phrase that.
I'm jealous because I know what she's talking about, so I'm so jelly.
But if you haven't seen the one with Jolene and Chow, please go watch that because that was super fun. It went up last weekend.
Yes, and a lot of people have commented that Chell looks like Damien from not this past season of Canada, but the BB Canada. What would it be?
Oh, yeah,
7 or whatever. He does a little bit, which could explain why I had a little crush on Damien. So,
yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much. Make sure you sub to Nerdtainment, and we will see you guys not next Saturday.
Next Saturday is July 4th, so we wish you a wonderful holiday for our American viewers. Enjoy some summertime.
Yes,
but we'll see you after that.
We will be back the following week. And Sarah, have a wonderful time off. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.